what were some core principles that you learned of scale as you moved into the digital space that rang true from the onset of your digital business? And what are some unique challenges that might contrast that in the current landscape of business development today?
I think the North Star here is you need to look at business from a perspective of you don't build wealth from what you do, but what you own. So starting your business journey to build something that is actually somewhat sellable or at least repeatable and systemizing. Because at the end of the day, if all it depends on is your workload and all you do is like trade time and just continue to do so, you can no longer, you never have an exit plan. So if you have a North Star, even if you never sell ever, but just have a North Star of like, okay, what can I build to own rather than build to work? It will govern a lot more decisions. And that being said, with some of the integral places across the business, like I put a lot of time into, actually systemizing the way I programmed. For example, like at the time when it was just me and I was coaching, before programming and biomechanics became a term of, I guess, commonality in our industry where people started to respect it, I started to actually break down the way I programmed, and whether the methodology at the time was right or wrong, it was a methodology nonetheless that I could stand by. And I could actually systemize and go, well, when I program, I do X, Y, Z. How do I do those things and how long do those things take? And then I could time audit against them. And every single task in my business was a reverse engineered down to the idiot level skill set. So anyone could come in and plug and play, so that it was a step-by-step process. And I think that's where the most integral thing for me would have been actually systemizing and creating a standard operating procedure for every task, even the most menial of ones. So for example, back when I was working in the gym, I would systemize my approach to client inbound conversation. So when someone would come up to me, how would I talk to them? What would I say? What were the topics of discussion? And doing things in that way has allowed me to take a bird's eye view far quicker, far faster, and allowed me to, in the infancy of the growth phase of the business, I didn't have to stress so much about hiring the highest skilled people. I just had to hire the people that could listen the best and that could actually adapt. Now we're in a different phase now where skill set is far more respect and far more necessary. But I think the take home point is maybe remove your ego. If your job can be done by someone less skilled than you for less money, it would be ideal to do so from a scale perspective. If you can outsource admin, if you can outsource finance, and they just have a system to follow. They don't have to be the best, especially when you don't have capital to invest in the best. They just need to have a process that they can follow and they can tick boxes. If you can hire people, if you can find people to tick boxes for you, if you just free up mental capacity for you to do the thing, and then when the time comes to use capital appropriately to get the best people, you can do so. As for the landscape now, I think it's very, very different. I think a lot of seasoned coaches probably have a little bit more of maybe an ego or a little bit of a distaste to where the current landscape of the fitness industry is, because they know what they know and they know what built them. Right now, most of the people that have been in industry as long as I have, anywhere past, let's say 6 years, right? They have this attachment to, you need to build skill set in the gym one-on-one with people, which I agree with. Like, that is the best way to get reps in. It's the best way to get people skills. It's the best way to get rejection, all of the above. However, if you were coming into this industry today where you could step into an online model and that is what is normal and what is done, and you could probably grow faster without the outgoings of rent in a gym, would you not do that? Of course you would. Right? So I don't think it's fair to get angry at the industry of where we are. I think it's just a change in times. So when I first started, I paid $300 a week in rent to work in the place that I worked. If I was starting now, I would pay $300 a week into education to get good at what I needed to be good at, and and essentially play leapfrog, skip the queue. Rather than do the 12 months in the gym, I do the 6 months of getting every single person that will teach me the people skills. Go find the people that will teach me how to speak. Go find the people that teach me how to program. If I spent $300 a week on every single week education, you'd probably get just as good, way faster.
You talked about systemizing things down to the idiot level, as it were. And I found it really interesting that you brought a system even of communication. You contrasted that with talking about freeing up bandwidth to be creative within your business, right? Get rid of admin, get rid of finance, get rid of box checking activities that someone else's pen can strike. Is it hard to find the balance between system and creativity, structure and creativity, at a level where, okay, great, you've bought back your time, you've restructured the business, what I would assume to be numerous times over, so that we can keep overcoming these hurdles. You sit back, and I'm assuming there's a reflection when you get into the process of business development or strategy development or brand building, when you are being creative and you're in this what I'm assuming to be an unstructured territory. Is it unstructured territory? Like, when you go to think about what the business, how that moves to making decisions, what is your structure around the more reactive parts of business, or are those even too systemized?
I think when it comes, it is unstructured when you look at it from a position of actuality of the reactiveness of the actual process. You have to look at what's in front of you. You can't just structure out a plan that may not be in front of you yet. However, the way you think about that can be structured. So I apply a framework that is very, very simple, and think of it like, I said, Venn diagram. On one side you have can do, on the other side you have should do. And if there is a cross section in the middle, that's where we start our innovation. And that's where we start to go, okay, well, let's structure and systemize off that cross point only, because there's a lot of noise outside of that. There's a lot of things we can do, a lot of things we should do, but not many that often cross over in the exact same time. So, for example, should a coach produce their own app to deliver their service and own the IP? Yeah, they should. But can they? Probably not, because they don't have $1 million in free capital. So it's not worth worrying about. We need to find something else. There's always a lot of noise in the decision-making framework and a lot of things you can do, but not many things that you can and should at the very same time. So if you can find that cross-section, if there's 100 things on the board, but there's only 3 things in the middle that actually cross over in that point in time, it gives you your direction, gives you your North Star, and then you innovate off those and create systems off those few things, as opposed to, trying to find things off a giant list and trying to just jump from new thing to new thing to new thing until something sticks.